Waldeck Castle within the limits of the village of Dorweiler in Dommershausen in the Rhein-Hunsrück-Kreis in Rhineland-Palatinate was the main seat of the Hunsrück family of Boos. The ruin lies high above the Baybach valley. William I of Heinzenberg built the fortress in 1150 and, in so doing, established the Boos-Waldeck family, which was later to become widespread. The medieval castle endured several wars, and was partially destroyed by the French in 1689 during the course of the 9 Years' War, known in Germany as the War of the Palatine Succession. The castle was used until 1833, when the family of Boos-Waldeck sold its holdings in the Rhineland. Historical background. The first documentary mention of a castle in the vicinity of today's ruins dates to the year 1243. In the document, the knights Heribert, Udo and Winon gave the castle Elector of Cologne, Conrad von Hochstaden, who in turn enforced them. Around 1250, Rudolf Boos von Waldeck built the Lower Bailey, and both wards are mentioned in a document in 1285. The Archbishop authorized the family to act as landlords of the area, through commercial contracts with Cologne, thus establishing the aristocratic line of the family that endured until 1833. This main seat would be the central administration of mills, offices, and the residence for barons, counts, and noble visitors during the summer. Political connections through deals, commerce and military control against the French guaranteed almost 600 years of influence. The surname Boos is related to ancient medieval German words meaning lead, nobleman, or angry, possibly used to indicate the residence of the castle. Hence the name variation, Castle of Boos-Waldeck, seen in some documents. In French it is cited as the Castle of Boos-Waldeck or Boos-Waldeck. Below, nearer the valley, the Lower Bailey was established, possibly to enclose the houses of the joint owners of the castle. It is possible that the lower ward had been built around 1250 by the aforesaid Rudolf. Some documents mention both wards of the castle in 1285. The remnants of the Lower Bailey were only rediscovered and identified as such in recent years when the land was prospected. With the new building of the comital Palatine Tower, the castle now consisted of 3 parts. A new tower that had been built over the previous 2 wards and 2 Lower Baileys, the Old Upper and the Old Lower Bailey. Timeline 1124 First mention of Archbishop Conrad about Waldeck area. 1242 to the knights Heribert, Udo and Winon buy the rights to use their assets from the Archbishop of Cologne. 1250 Building of the Bailey by Rudolf Boos von Waldeck. 1325 First well-known attempt to host multiple families of the castle was regulated. Beside the sects of the Waldeckers in 3 lines line were also the families of Winning and Metz, Sabershausen. 1331–36 The knights of the castles Eltz and Boos-Waldeck set up a resistance force of 50 knights against the arrival of Archbishop Baldwin, but were defeated near Gegenbergen. 1361 The brothers Johann and Emmerich Boos von Waldeck recognized the authority of the Archbishop of Cologne, which was acknowledged as a chivalrous, but would not give any access to the castle. 1370 Johann IV Boos von Waldeck married Else of Montfort, the great-her child of this married couple. Simon Boos von Waldeck received earnings until 1480, the ruin of Montfort. Henceforth the descendants of this bloodline would be called Boos von Waldeck and Montfort. 1398 Ruprecht from Pfalz conquered the castle, after Johann Boos von Waldeck had died. In the peace treaty of the 29th of March, Ruprecht was granted access for living in the new tower, to keep occupied on the neck. Thus the authority of the Palatinate became a neighbor, enhancing the influence of the family in the business of the region. 1469 Geopolitical changes partially affect the administration. 1557. Beside the Boos von Waldeck, there are only two families living in the castle. 1689. The French partially destroyed the castle. 1720. Colonel William Lothar Baron Boos von Waldeck, who lived in Koblenz, settled a summer house in the Bailey. 1833. The Boos von Waldeck, facing new geopolitical trends after the Napoleonic Wars, sold all its holdings in the Rhineland, thus also the newly built Boos-Waldeck Castle. 1850. Some of the landmarks, support stones, were removed from the castle to build other houses on the ward area, accelerating the castle's decay into ruins. Bibliography. Goes Adam Hart, Albert Mittelrheinische Register, 5 vols. Koblenz 1876-86, Volume 2, Number 608 VGL. Goes Adam Hart, Albert Volume 3, Number 333 in Nipping, Richard U. A. Register der Erzbischof von Köln im Mittelalter, Bonn 1909-1913, Volume 2, No. 1078. Goes Adam Hart, Albert Mittelrheinische Register, 5 vols. Koblenz 1876-86, Volume 4, No. 1236. Hams, Michael, Die Bergruhen Waldeck im Hunsrück, in Abentur Archaeology, Annual No. 5, 2003, 12-15. ISSN 1615-7125. Hams, Michael, Berg Waldeck im Hunsrück, in ? Kopfchen Ausblicke Einblicke Rückblicke. Mitteilungsblatt der Arbeitsgemeinschaft Burg-Waldeck, Arbeitsgemeinschaft Burg-Waldeck, Dommershausen ab 1989. Gerd Hopstadter, Fritz Langenberg, Burganschloss Waldeck im Hunsrück, ein geschichtlicher Rückblick, Ottweiler Druckerei Ottweiler, 1957. Nerum, die letzten Wandervögel, Burg-Waldeck und die Narre. Geschichte einer Jugendbewegung. Deutsches Burbach Verlag. Baunig, 2002. ISBN 3-88778197-X. Hotschneider, Die Waldeck. Lieder, Fahrten, Abentur, Die Geschichte der Burg Waldeck von 1911 bis heute.